Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Lily and today I'm starting a new Christmas series called Blame It on Father Winter. Now personally, I've never been a huge Christmas person. Please don't hold that against me. I'm just usually very emotionally conflicted during the holidays, so I try to stay away from most Christmas content and decorations, even in real life and in The Sims. So this year is no exception, but I am trying to give it a better attitude because 2026 is shaping out to be very unstable, and I really just want to start with the best attitude possible. I have about 15 videos planned for the series in which I will be narrating a pretty usual story that I think we have all seen, how the love of your life brings back the Christmas spirit, or in this case the Winterfest spirit, and how family drama can actually just add some spice to any event. And I really can't wait to share this story with you. We begin in San Sequoia in this 30 by 20 lot on the Hopewell Hills neighborhood. I chose this lot because it looks very homely, and to be quite frank, I rarely use San Sequoia nowadays. So today we're going over a cozy Christmas home speed build. I have this idea of a successful young couple that moves in after college and begins their career in this cozy home in the middle of the winter, and embark in the Hallmarks-ish Winterfest breaking of her animosity towards the season, and eventually the mutual understanding of their personalities while also bringing in some familiar characters in unusual situations. I found this beautiful home on Pinterest and it inspired the entire build. I have been practicing a lot when it comes to building and decorating because I'm more of a gameplay simmer. So this is not my forte. Downloading from the gallery, that's my forte. I was struggling with the layout of the house, so I ended up making the pathway first because I realized that that was the most impactful part of the front of the house. So I began with the pathway. I think that the porch of this house gives it a very cozy feeling, so I really wanted it to match as closely as possible to the picture. But unfortunately, as I was trying to find a railing which would needed to be a brick fence, here's where I finally decided to start using the half walls. I went for the medium, if I'm not mistaken, the medium half wall, and that one I managed to match to everything else. I was very annoyed because you cannot choose the half wall option to automatically change everything, because it will give you the actual half wall and not the one that you're already setting. So that was annoying, but we got through it. For me, roofing has become something very comfortable, I would say, when it comes to building. It was the hardest part for me, but it also was the reason why I got into Sims YouTube videos, because I was searching for a good video that could help me, and that's how I found Lil Simsy for the very first time, because I was looking for some tutorials on roofing, and a couple of years later here I am trying to do the same. It took me a while to get the roof looking similar to the one in the picture, and it's still pretty off. I think that the one in the picture, the house itself is so much taller, and you're also possibly able to do so much more in real life with that much of a high ceiling. But I really wanted to keep the price of the house low because of the storyline, which I failed anyway, but I really tried. Now, I do call myself a very disorganized builder because I end up going back and forth on the same things after choosing them for the first time and making sure that they look correctly already. But I do that a few times with the paint, with the windows, with the door, and with the columns, especially with the columns. I had a lot of trouble with the camera for a moment. I've gone to the settings. I think I said that in the last video. I went to the settings and I did change it so that the camera wouldn't jump with anything that was in the middle. But I did not like having that much control over my camera. So for some reason, it is the first time I like I said, I don't play often in San Sequoia, and I think it's the first time that I built on this lot. So I didn't know that that little mountain back there would actually cause that, and for a moment I was fighting the trees. but then I realized that it's just something in the way, and that's why the camera would jump. So when I finally chose the paint, I still went back and tried to change the columns again for no reason whatsoever. This part is really funny for me because I really don't know the names of each part of the roof. So every single time that I'm going to be decorating for Christmas, I'm going to be using the decoration box. I am going to be searching what are the eaves, what are the spandrels, what are the friezes. I'm just going to search it. I can't think about it right now and be like, yeah, that's this part and this part. And then when I'm actually decorating, I completely forget and I just go right ahead and I search it because it's so much easier. And I ended up using some base game eaves for this house. Now with the terrain manipulation and the landscaping, at this point I'm just practicing. I see that in the picture the house is on a level that seems a little bit higher than just the foundation. So that's what I'm working on here. I really am just practicing to give it a more realistic look. I really wanted to match the landscaping to the one in the picture, but at the same time, I really couldn't zoom in. I didn't find any other pictures of this house. So I just went with those very simple flower beds at the front of the house on each side of the entrance. I know that many simmers actually do the landscaping last. I just have a tendency of doing the worst part first. And for me, landscaping is still one of the hardest parts. I still need to find a picture for inspiration. I will need to find other builds that look alike and to see exactly what I could do and get ideas because it's just not in me. I have been working so much in decorating inside, painting, and doing all sorts of combinations when it comes to the furniture and the windows and all of that. But when it comes to the landscaping, I will need inspiration. So the landscaping of the house makes me think that the house may have been AI, but I did look into it and it was in an article and it seemed to be a very refutable type of website. I found it on Pinterest, but I went to the website. So I don't think that it is AI. It is a very interesting concept for a garden. It's just flower beds at the very front. And I think that is very beautiful. This was a very quick build in comparison to what I usually take. I'm really just pushing myself to do so much better when it comes to recording and building. Now I just need to carry the same energy to the editing part of this process. No matter how much I try to match this foundation with the step, there's no way to do it. I couldn't find a fence, I couldn't find a paint for the foundation that would also match the one for the platform that I had to use there. At the end, I didn't find one that really matched the picture. I just ended up finding just two matching colors so that it could just blend in a little bit more. At some point, I added some standing furniture just to see how the space would work out with the layout, and I picked the fireplace that would eventually stay. It is the closest one, the tightest one to the wall, so it is just really good for small spaces. And I decided that I wanted to go for a modern look because of the fireplace. The idea was going to be of a flipped home, means it looks a certain way on the outside, but it doesn't hold the charm completely on the inside. It has some things that are a little bit more modern, but everything else is supposed to be very cozy. At this point, I really hadn't chosen a palette for the house either. I was basically going off vibes, and after getting to the point that I was fine with that fireplace and the furniture, I decided that I would just follow a neutral look for the house. So it was never supposed to be an autumn or fall house. It is still supposed to be a Christmas house, but for some reason I just was thinking more of outside of Christmas how it would be decorated, and I really like this combination of neutrals with green, teal, and orange. I had to work a lot around the space that I had. I want everything to be functional, but for some reason, the only thing that I saw that wasn't functional is the books that are on the coffee table. I tried everything and they don't work. They just look really cute, so I left them there. I ended up using the same rug for the entrance and the living room. I don't think it's unheard of to have a matching set of rugs for a general area, so I went with that idea. I know that my indecisiveness, you cannot tell that the editing this video was hell. I think editing is by far the most discouraging part of video creation because of how hard it is, and of course how expensive it is to outsource it, because duh, it's freaking hard and it takes a lot of time. So I really wanted to give it that very small, very I really wanted to give it a small, very cozy look. So the warmth in the colors, I think, really radiates that. Now, for the kitchen, I ignored the flip theory and went for a more classic tile on the walls and floor. I ended up changing the floor plan just slightly at some point to fit the look and play better. I have been getting so much better at cluttering in the game, which is really funny because I am extremely good at cluttering in real life. But for some reason, when it comes to the game, I just cannot see anything anywhere. So All Trusty Kitchen Clutter Kit really saves the day for me because everything is in the same exact kit and I can just filter by it, and it makes it so much easier for me to find what I need, and everything just fits so perfectly well. It is just nice to combine with absolutely any color and any small appliance, and the color is actually really good because it doesn't interfere with the gameplay, and I think that is a fantastic thing. I wish many other things would actually work that way, but I'm very happy with this one. As I'm doing the voiceover, I realize how gray and beige the entire kitchen actually is, and it's only saved by the pops of color with the orange, and I'm perfectly okay with it, but it is very beige and gray, and I hadn't noticed until now. I think it is a beautiful combination in this case, but that's a very exceptional case. I wouldn't have a kitchen like this personally, but it is very beautiful in The Sims. Completing the decoration of an entire room is always the goal, but for some reason I never manage no matter how much I try. Eventually I will go back into cluttering another room and I will find something that just goes great in the kitchen or in the dining room, and I didn't even think about it before, so that's why I still call myself a disorganized builder. But this could very likely just be the regular Sims experience. I don't think that I'm alone in this. I think that is a very usual way of building. I started in the bathroom with the walls and the floor, which is very different how I would usually begin. I, for the most part, will start with a decoration, either a rug or a furniture piece, and then work myself around that and finish with the walls and the floors and just complete the room like that. But in the case of the bathroom, I was thinking about that sage color, and I really wanted that to complete the palette of the house. So I ended up using that from the beginning. I also push the tub and the shower into the wall just slightly because it gives it a very realistic look, and I really like that, being able to choose the backsplash of the shower. Now you're gonna see that for the laundry, everything around the bathroom is already completed. I just thought about the laundry as I was finishing the build. So I went back and I moved everything around just so that I could have a small laundry inside the bathroom as well. For the bedroom, I had a hard time choosing something, so I began with the bed, and I really wanted to give it a boho look with a more warm color, and some pink and teal. So I went with that bed and then worked myself around it. I really had a hard time placing the curtains because I didn't want them to be hidden when you were inside the room, and they would click very weird to the window, so I really had a hard time placing them, but eventually it worked out. So I went back outside to add some activity and skill objects, also some recreational objects outside in the yard. Although I don't have any plans of playing with a family in this house, and it would still be a little bit hard to fit in another room in the house, I still gave it some smaller features for even a smaller family. Maybe if you can add a bed in it, just as a beginner friendly home. Except for the price. The price ends up not being beginner friendly at all, not in the slightest. For me, terrain paint is just. For me, terrain paint is something that never came to mind until I started watching Sims content. I swear I had never paid attention to the terrain paint. Unless I was making something like a flower bed specifically needed the terrain paint, I would have never looked at it. I would have never paid attention to it, really. So here's where I began actually decorating for Christmas because it is a Christmas build. At first, I really wanted to use a decorated Christmas tree, and then I decided that I was going to make a sim decorate all of the entire tree and the house using the decoration box. I'm going to use it to decorate the parts of the house that I cannot decorate in build by. I decided to just go with that tree. I'm also really bad at decorating for holidays, so I'm taking as much advantage of any Christmas decorations that I can find inside of the catalog because I'm just not really good at it. So I wouldn't just be looking for something specific to put there or be like, yeah, something like this would be great for there, because I don't have that inspiration or creativity for it. So I'm basically just going off of whatever we actually have on in the game. Here I'm also cluttering, since I'm going through the entire catalog of decorations that we have. I'm also finding other things that we can add as clutter in the rooms. The game has so many interesting things to add to each room that it's impossible not to over clutter sometimes. I just really work around it. But when it comes to the holiday decorations, there are things here that I would never even think about using in real life all by myself, but I see them there and I'm like, yeah, I could definitely do that. I could definitely decorate like that. You know, if I ever like really feel motivated to, I definitely can. And here's a final look of the house and some pictures of the completed house on the inside and surroundings. Now, thank you so much for spending some time with me. If you made it this far, please leave me a Christmas emoji in the comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate the support. And the next episode should be out soon. I will be putting the series in an entire playlist. Until then, stay cozy and stay safe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.